Okay, fine. So in the last session, just we have seen the process of invoice creation, which we know very well in EBS and all. But here, case of Fusion application, how to do it? We taken the navigation and we create invoice, and we validated, accounted, and interface that entries into GL. And we checked how to drill down and how to perform the override for the accounts. This is what we tested in the last session. So now what we'll do is we'll see how to create invoice through spreadsheet. Your spreadsheet is nothing but web ADI function in EBS. The same here we are calling as ADFdi, application desktop framework data integrated. Reality forms which are developed with ADF pages only you can see in the Fusion. In terms of forms, this ADF means application development framework, but when you talk about this spreadsheet functionality, you should call it as application desktop framework integrated, data integrated. Fine. So first we have to install the plugin. ADFdi plugin you have to install into your machine. That means client system. You have to client machine you have to install. Then only when you try to access the spreadsheet functionality that will work from your side. So from where we can download it. So normally that would be available under tools. If you go to navigator, okay, under tools here in the below section, there should be one what I could say like desktop integrator, application desktop integrator. There will be one task. Okay, so in the most of the instances in this demo instances that is missing, just click on that, scroll little down. Here basically you should be able to see here it is just somehow it is missing in the most of the instances, but we don't need to worry about it. When you're working for your client and all, you could see that the tool and all for time being. Like I mean, for your practice and all, what I'll do is I have a that same plugin which I downloaded from the previous class time. I mean, when we were running the classes, when what are the instances we used. So at that time I downloaded that file. That file is ready with me. So this is a file, ADFdi Excel add-in installer. Basically this file you can download from this path. Under tools you can always find that. Okay, the tools you can find, but now in this these environments not available. But anyway, we need this file. This file I'll be sharing with you. So I'll be placing this file in the Google Drive itself. I'll just create one more folder called as ADFdi, and within that file, I mean within that folder, I'll place this file. We know the through Google Drive or Gmail we cannot share any files which file extension is exe. Executable files we cannot share. For that reason, what I'll do is I'll just take this file and I'll change the extension. Okay, I'll just take this file. This file, what I'll do is I'll change the extension from exe to erp3. Now extension is not exe, so this file can be placed in the Google Drive. I'll place this file in the Google Drive. So once you take this file into your system, what you can do is once you take into your system, you can set back to the same exe and you can install this file. Okay, so please follow this process. I'll just change these extensions to .erp3 that I'll place in the Google Drive. You just take into your machine, download into your machine, and set back to .exe extension. Then you can install it. Fine. So once you receive this file, how to install? So just right click on that file and just select option called as run as administrator. Don't double click directly where system can install automatically. Follow this process. Okay, so if you don't go with this process, some permissions will be missing, so it may not work. So once you have file ready with you, just right click, say run as administrator, say yes, say install.
Uh,
Wait for some.
Lakshman, the
Yeah.
Excel, this add-in .exe is specific to releases or
That is
because every time we
see which files you can install into the mission. If the file just extensions are exe executable file, we are executing this script which is there inside to get into that functionality in our application. Exe file.
okay. And this is compatible with R12, R11, R13, release 13.
Yes. Okay. Version wise, yes, the same file you can use for 12 also.
Okay.
Yeah, 12 also you can use. Yes. Okay. Just let's wait for a couple of minutes time. Right. Fine. The installation completed successfully. Close it. Okay. So now what we have to do is from this Excel or open the other sheet. Now go to Excel options. After installing that file into your machine, what we have to do is we have to go to Excel options, go to Excel options and go to Trust Center. Go to Trust Center and just click on Trust Center settings. And here go to macro settings and make sure that these two checkboxes, this checkbox is enabled. Trust access to VBA project object model, and out of this macro settings, just make sure that this radio option you selected. Enable all macros. Okay, and primarily just set these two options. Then you can start using this the spreadsheet what we have in our application that would be very much compatible to run that ADF related synchronization, and it will create a framework to enter the relevant data. Any question? Somebody unmute.
Lakshman, can you show once again, please?
So go to Excel options and go to Trust Center and click on Trust Center settings and select macro settings and make sure that this radio option checkbox you enabled. Rest no issues. Just let it be like how you have as it is. That those all will support. Fine. So this is what we have to do. So because in my case those are already enabled and the radio option is selected, since the same system I used to install that same file and to set those, and just to show you that in our class I uninstalled that and again I installed just now, but that options remain as it is. Whatever I said earlier, the same you have to do it. Done. Okay, sorry. Fine, this is how we have to install and we have to set the Excel options. Now we can go and create the invoice from spreadsheet. We'll see that. Okay, let me close this. So here, say invoice creation via spreadsheet, ADFdi. To create the invoice from the spreadsheet, go to the invoice workbench. Under payables, click on invoices and go to the task list. And here you can see the task called as create invoice from spreadsheet. Okay, create invoice from spreadsheet. Just click on this. If you see the title of the spreadsheet, create quick invoices. So we have a functionality called as quick invoices in EBS case, where you can enter the invoice very quickly by providing the basic information. The same functionality you can see through this spreadsheet. We'll see that. Say OK. Say open the file. Just click on the task. It will give you a prompt. Say OK. Now system is asking us We want to connect to this URL to establish the connectivity with the ADFdi functionality, which will create the framework in this spreadsheet. Say yes, connect. Now we have to provide the login credentials. Okay, just provide the same the application credentials which you are using. So our username is cloudinc and provide the password. Say sign in. So you may see this client server version check. Always you say skip. If you see this message, say skip. Otherwise, it will create the framework. Find that created. Now you can create the invoice with a very simple basic information. So select your business unit here. Our BU name is Cloud Inc. US Business Unit. The import set and all not mandatory to just to identify the records with some grouping. And invoice number. Invoice number say Cloud 2. Invoice currency. Just you can directly enter, it will accept USD. Invoice amount say $10,000. Invoice date. The date June 7th 2018. And to select the supplier details, just double click and search for our supplier. Our supplier name is Cloud Inc. Supplier 1, right? So search for the same supplier, Cloud Inc. Click on search. Select this record and say OK. So system selected supplier name and the supplier number, and we have to select the supplier site. See here for these two columns, so we have a double star mark. Okay, that means if one star mark means it's required mandatory, and two star marks means at least one is required. You can enter the supplier name or supplier number. One would be enough because both will have fields will have a relation. So if you select supplier, it will default number. If you select number, it will default supplier. Now here it's a supplier site mandatory field, right? So select supplier site. We given the name as a site 1, right? So search for the supplier site and select here. So site name we given as site 1. Search. Say for example you created site but you don't remember now. You don't need to go and check the application, opening the supplier and verifying. What you could do is any value if you don't remember, or else you didn't create something when you are doing some transaction part. If you want to find out the existing values, so in this search criteria what you have to do is you have to select is not blank. I mean supplier site is not blank means all it will display. So address also we have here, so that also you have to select is not blank. If you select is not blank, that means so that should not be blank, which is not blank, which has some value, it has to be displayed. That is the meaning of it. Search. It will produce the results. Site address. Basically, this is how it should work. Why it's not showing here? Okay. I think it's for both. For two, it is not applying. Okay. Generally, it should work. It works in the most of the pop-up search criterias. Maybe site address, it is not getting applied. Fine. Here we'll go with a normal search only, but So that basically it works. I think it is selected this site one or not. Site address it is not showing. Okay, that means you may search is blank. Site address it is not showing. That could be a reason it is not showing the results with that criteria. Yeah, now the result is same. So this is because here there is no data for the site address, that is the reason it's not showing. So this is site we have to select. Say okay. And now you can specify the payment currency. By default, system takes invoice currency as a payment currency, but still you can write it and specify that. So invoice type is standard invoice. If you want to write description, write it, and line information, line details you can write, line number and all you may specify all those details. And amount, say $10,000. Yeah.
Can you go to invoice type once?
In-
How many options you have? Debit or credit?
Oh, you want to see the invoice. See here, the reality, we don't use this sheet because this is not very much detailed sheet to enter more information. Okay, this is just you can quick invoice. So in EBS, say R12 or even 11A also we have, who uses that quick invoice functionality? Which client you normally we don't see, like it's all about entering very basic information, that sort of functionality they give. So quick invoice, very basic information. So this sheet we don't use, just it's very basic information. You cannot add many other fields of data. It's very limited fields we have here. So if you want to create this invoice by matching with the purchase order, you can give the PO number and the specific line you can specify, and you can enter the distribution set here. Okay, we have a distribution set called as expense, right? Double click and select that expense distribution set so that this line information, line amount will be distributed across those accounts. Select and say okay. That's all. So these are the very limited columns we have in the sheet. If you want to enter only these details, you can create invoice with this information. That's all. Fine. After entering these details, you can go to create invoices. And if just say save and submit journal invoice import. If you say save, this information will be saved to payables open invoice interface, and again you have to submit the import invoices, import payables invoice job we have to submit. Instead of doing a two steps process, directly you can say save. Save means this data will be saved to payables open invoice interface, and submit invoice import means from there it will get imported into payables. Just click on save and submit invoice import. Say okay. So same as EBS, we don't have any invoice batch functionality. In 11i and release 12 of EBS, you can create the invoice batch, but here we don't have that invoice batch functionality. Okay, here you may just specify the parameters, or with open criteria you can directly say submit. If you have invoices here which are belongs to multiple business units, directly you may submit. If you want to submit specific BO related invoices, you can select your BO and you can submit. Cloud INC US business unit and say submit. Say okay. Here you could notice the row status as row inserted successfully. You can drag little right, you could see detail status.
What is the invoice group?
Sorry,
Invoice group
where you could see invoice group?
in the submit window.
So okay, in the I think in the last session also there was some question. Of course, that is an end of the session. Somebody asked Invoice group is nothing but when you are creating an invoice with some criteria, you want to group the invoices, you can enter some value. Say you are entering 10 invoices, so 10 invoices are, say, uh, functional currency and foreign currency. Again, when you say foreign currency, that say 5 transactions are belongs to foreign currency, again the 5 transactions belongs to 3 different currencies. If you want to group those foreign currency invoices, okay, even those are belongs to different currencies, you may give the key one name grouping as foreign for 5 invoices. That's how those 5 invoices will be grouped. So here, why they given here, there could be some column, that is reason the criteria also they given within that. But basically when you create invoice, you could see that. So do we have here that column? Import set we have, this is also for grouping purpose, and we will verify that is there as a hidden column. Okay, or else the pop-up might be like it is coming as a common pop-up for any data import.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, that's fine.
No, just since there is some discussion, we are trying to find it. Unhide. But other line distribution says no, there are no. That is a common pop-up. That is the reason it's coming. That actual field we have in the invoice creation page. We'll see that when you are creating invoice, you'll see that it's all about to group the invoices. See, for payment purpose, we have a pay group. The similar way to group the invoices, certain
Yeah.
criteria that you can use, but that is a dynamic field.
Yeah, looks like instead of payment invoice batch, they similar to that.
See, not exactly. In case of invoice batch, the advantage is you can set a control count and control amount, so that system will keep tracking.
Correct.
Because of this invoice group, no tracking, just it's all about tagging, additional tagging. Okay, that's how it works. Fine. Now we'll go and find the invoice which we created and imported. You may just refresh this. Now here you can notice 2 invoices in last 24 hours. One invoice from yesterday session, other invoice just now we created. So you just click on this number. Okay, so here you can see the color which indicates one is completed invoice, the second one is incomplete. That means it's a validated invoice, this is not validated invoice. 2 invoices we have 50-50. One invoice is validated, another one is not validated. So this is the invoice which just now we created in the spreadsheet and imported. Just click on that invoice number. So this is basically invoice group. Here we have invoice group. You can write as some test. That's how you can group multiple. The same like I'll say 1, 2, 3. The same 1, 2, 3 I may give it to 5 invoices. That's how I can group. When I want to find out those 5 invoices, simply I'll search with this invoice group in the search criteria. That's how those 5 invoices will be displayed. But depending if there is a need of grouping the invoices, you may use it. Fine. So this is invoice which we imported from that spreadsheet. Okay. This is the distribution set. We use 10,000 and all. So not validated. We can validate this.
Sorry, invoice group means invoice batch.
Sorry? No. Not batch. It's a batch purpose is different, right? It's just grouping. Like it's tagging the multiple invoices. If you want to tag multiple invoices with the same name, you can use the tag name as a group, invoice group. Grouping the invoice.
Okay, sir.
grouping the invoices, not creating a
Lakshman,
batch. Yeah, please.
Lakshman, in R12, in 11i and R12 for the web ADI, we have a responsibility and we create custom web ADIs, right? Apart from the standard ones. So likewise in Fusion, uh, there is a exe file here, but can we able to customize it and we have our own spreadsheets created and
Uh,
upload?
Here you cannot do in this cloud environment, and that
We
is
have to just use whatever Oracle provided spreadsheets, right?
yes, that's spreadsheet only we can. Okay, fine. So just submit for validation and just account it. Anyway, this process already we have seen. So it's validated. Now you may submit for accounting. Post to ledger means it creates accounting, transfers to GL, and it will post in the GL automatically. Just say okay, done. So now we'll just process the payment for this invoice. Okay, first for this invoice, we'll make the payment from here by using the painful option. And yesterday we created an invoice as a cloud one. For that invoice, we'll go to the payment workbench with the navigation and we'll create it. Okay, for this invoice, we'll make the payment by using pay in full option. Okay, so from the invoice actions, select pay in full.
So there is no subledger accounting concept, right? As soon as you validate and post it, it goes directly into general ledger. There is no intermediary between AP to GL.
No, in EBS, how you do accounting?
In EBS, when we do create accounting, right, it will go into the subledger transactions. It will sit there, and from there we interface to GL.
Post to ledger means that includes accounting. The same happens. That's what we discussed the point. When you say post to GL, it will create accounting. How it will create accounting? With the help of subledger accounting only. It will transfer to GL and it will post in the GL. The naming convention they are not giving as post final post, which you see in EBS, right? Same SLA we have. Okay, when you say post to ledger, accounting will be created by SLA only, the support of SLA, and that's how it would be routed to GL. Okay, so this is our bank account, Cloud ANC corporate account. Select payment process profile which we created. So we created as a Cloud ANC payment process profile, and select payment document by how you are processing the payment, say through check, Cloud ANC check, and system will default the document. So the payment number, document check number is going to be 1, and you can say submit. This invoice will be processed for payment with this check. Just 1 second, it will complete the payment. One document now with the 10,000 payment is processed against this invoice. Same you could see here as a payments 10,000. Okay, this is how just we can make the payment for the invoice by using the painful option. Now we have one more invoice which we created in the last session yesterday. The invoice number is cloud 1. This invoice number is cloud 2. The invoice which already we created and validated account and transfer to GL, the number is 1. We'll go and make the payment for that invoice from the payment workbench instead of using this option. So here already we discussed this point. If you go to navigator, under payables you could see 3 options. Okay, so once you click on invoice, you will land in this page, right where we are now. Here you can click on expand, the same options which you can see from the navigator, those will get displayed. Now instead of going to navigator to click on payments directly, you can switch from invoice workbench to payment workbench from the on the same page itself. Just click on payments, we'll switch to payment workbench. Now we will create the payment for the invoice. For now we'll see the manually how to create the payment, and going forward we'll be processing the payments by using the payment process request, PPR. Fine. So go to task list. We are in the payment workbench, or call it as payment work area. So under payments, just click on the task list. is the task list, right? Click on the task list or say task panel or task pan and say create payment. Just click on create payment task. So here we can create the payment. So we are creating the payment for the cloud US cloud INC US business unit. How we are getting this view here? For this user, we set default business unit as a cloud INC US business unit, right? So select our supplier. So a cloud INC, just tab out, it will fetch the value. Yes. So you are going to make the payment, quick payment, which where system will allow us to print it. So select our disbursement bank account, from which bank account we want to release the check. Cloud INC corporate account, and payment method is yes check, and the payment process profile. So cloud INC payment process profile, and payment document is cloud INC check. Okay, these are the details. This is the document we are going to use. We want to process the payment to this supplier and this site only by following this criteria. Okay, what are the invoices we have? Means for this supplier, for this site, invoices you could find from here. Okay, invoices to pay, you have to select. Click on select. Click on add. So only one invoice is available with this criteria. Supplier is cloud INC supplier 1, site is site 1. With this criteria, only one invoice is available. Okay, not only just that, only this criteria, even currency criteria also.
Is it the same pay through date and payment date same here in EBS?
So same concept. That logic remains same.
Okay.
Okay. Pay through date and all this same. Fine. So now this invoice amount is 25,000. If you want to make the payment to 25, you can select and you can say apply, and you can say okay, it will be added, and you can click on save and close. It will be saved as a payment record. So you want to make the only payment for only 20,000. In EBS, you can go and edit that amount. The same possible here. You can just click on the amount field. Just click on the amount field. It will open that field. One second, why it's not responding? One second, let me try again. Click on add. Okay, first let me select. After selecting, you can do it. So select this invoice, say apply. Just this invoice in the selection, right? So say okay. Now you can just update that amount, how much you want to pay. So this is an unpaid amount, 25,000. How much you want to pay? You want to pay only 20,000. So here you can make 20,000. Now by using this document, payment will be released for 20,000. This is how just you can modify this amount here in this stage. So if you are okay with that amount, you can say save and close. This is how the payment would be recorded. You can find the payments here from here. You can go to task list. So total 2 payments we process. One is by using the painful option. The other one is just now we recorded payment. So all the payments you can find by using the task called as manage payments. So you can search with the supplier cloud INC. Just tab out. Click on search. So 2 payments are processed. The same as EBS. If you want to void or stop, reissue these payments, yes, the same is applicable. If you go to actions, if you want to void this payment, you can void it. Okay. If you want to stop the initiate stop, then you can reissue later. These are all same as EBS. If you want to create accounting entries, yes, you can perform the accounting for the selected payment record. Created for first payment record. Select next one. Same as EBS, you can submit the create accounting job also. You submit create accounting request in EBS, the same way here also you can do it. Anyway, we'll be testing that also. Okay, so done. So I think it got selected 2 records, the selection process. Then this is how just you can.
At this phase, we can't find the final post, right? Only we're able to see only post ledger means only payables.
Yesterday we discussed, right? Who is asking this question? Just I want to get.
I'm sorry. Just I'm asking question.
No. Yesterday we discussed. You attended session.
No. What my question here is, I'm sorry to ask this question. Here the post to ledger means only up to payables or transferring to GL.
Yeah, the same point.
Just clarify.
Session. So in EBS, we have draft mode, right? Final mode, final post, and we discussed these are the 3 options we have in EBS. Same how we have in Fusion we discussed. Here we have only 2 modes: draft and post to ledger. Draft means it will create the sample accounting. Post to ledger is equal to EBS final post. What final post it will do? It will create accounting. It will transfer to GL and it will post in the GL. This final.
Okay, thank you.
Do this. So this is what we discussed. The same point again. Okay, post to ledger means it's equal to EBS final post. What is the meaning of final post? What final post will do? It will create accounting, it will transfer to GL and post. We have seen the same process. We submitted for post to ledger and the system created accounting, transfer to GL, it posted, and we tested that how to drill down and all. The same. Done. Okay, this is all about just invoice creation and payment. It's a completely just manual process. Going forward, we'll see how to automate this process by using the payment process request. Okay, that's all about ADFdi. Now we'll see the debit memo invoice creation. Okay, to create the debit memo invoice, what we'll do is, so we'll go to create first one standard invoice. We'll create the standard invoice with the $10,000 and we'll raise one debit memo with say $2,000, means minus 2,000. Fine. So to test this debit memo, because the 2 invoices which we have we processed for payment. Now if you want to raise the debit memo, we require this standard invoice. First we'll create standard invoice with the $10,000 and we'll create the debit memo with the 2,000 against this standard invoice 10,000. Okay, we'll go and do it. First create standard invoice. So we know like the standard invoice for manual, if you want to do the adjustments in case of purchase returns, if you are not going to create the debit memo automatically based on the purchase returns activity which you do as a part of inventory. So system will trigger the debit memo creation. Otherwise, how to create through manual process, we'll see that. So Cloud INC supplier 1. I'll say invoice 1. So $10,000 and the line amount also say 10,000. System is defaulting the distribution set. The same we can accept. Now directly you can proceed with the validation and accounting. Of course, accounting is not mandatory. Okay, so invoice has the same supplier invoice date, amount, currency as invoice number 2. It is just checking. So we create invoice with invoice with invoice number 2 with the same amount and date, etc. So system is verifying. Okay, and it is giving the note. Say continue. Yes, we know that it's a different invoice again, but number is different. So now submit this invoice for validation. Validated. You may account, may not account. Just to create accounting to transfer to GL, that is required, but just to test this, not required all the time. Let's ignore it for now. So then we created invoice. Now we want to reduce 2000 from this invoice. Okay, want to reduce 2000 from this invoice. We'll go and create the debit memo. Fine. This you can say save and close, or else to create one more invoice, any other invoice, it could be debit memo, credit memo, or another standard invoice. You simply click on save and create next. Our invoice number is INV1. Against this, we want to create the debit memo with $2,000. Click on save and create next, or click on save and close. Any tab you can use. Now we can create one more invoice. So here select invoice type as the debit memo. Okay, select invoice type as debit memo. So view payment terms for debit or credit memo. Yes, always we use immediate payment term. Yes, immediate only we are using. So supplier is Cloud Inc. and invoice number is DM1 debit memo 1. Want to create the debit with how much amount? 2000 minus 2000, right? The debit memo is negative sign. Debit or credit memo in payables, negative sign. So now you want to create this debit memo, okay, against which invoice? So you have to go to that invoice. So here we have a lines next to that match. Here we have one field to select the relevant information. Now you want to reduce this 2000 from which invoice? The invoice which you created by matching with any document of PO, or the invoice which you created as standalone. You want to reduce it 2000 from which invoice? Standalone invoice or matched invoice? Standalone invoice. The invoice INV1 we created as a standalone without matching with any PO or receipt, right? So since that is the case, here you have to select correct unmatched invoices. This 2000 we are going to correct on unmatched invoice. If the invoice INV1 is created by matching with the PO or receipt, you have to select this option. Otherwise, you have to select correct unmatched invoices. This 2000 we are going to reduce from unmatched invoice, nothing but standalone invoice. Select this option, then click on go. So find that invoice. You want to reduce this 2000 from which invoice? INV1. Search. Enable correction and specify the amount here. How much amount? 2000 minus 2000. If you want to open and see that invoice, simply you can click on this invoice number. It will open that invoice record. That's how they're given the drill down instead of giving the tabs like EBS form tabs. So say apply. And say OK. So it's selected in the background as a line, and just say OK. The rest of process remains same. Just validate and you may account it or you can ignore time being. Later you may perform the accounting. Okay, so that's how we can create the debit memo invoice, the manual process. In the same way, if you want to create the credit memo, same process. So if you want to create one credit memo, that also is the 2000 minus 2000 or say minus 1000. So we'll go to create the credit memo also against this invoice. Okay, finally by selecting these three, we'll make the payment. System will ask us to process finally 7000 by reducing 3000 from these two memos, debit and credit memos. We'll create credit memo also through manual process. So to create it, say save and create next. And select invoice type as a credit memo. Yes, it is giving the note as use immediate payment terms since it's a debit or credit memo. Supplier is Cloud Inc. Supplier 1. Invoice number is credit memo 1, CM1. And how much amount we want to reduce? $2,000. So from which invoice? Unmatched invoice. Correct unmatched invoices. Click on go. So provide invoice number INV1. Just click on search. Now you could see within this invoice how much amount is due. So the original amount is 10,000. From 10,000, by creating the debit memo, we reduced 2,000. Now this invoice amount INV1, the invoice due amount is only 8,000. Now we are going to reduce one more 1,000. It's just updating and showing here. So minus 1,000. And say apply. Here it added line. Say OK. Just validate this credit memo also. So done. So save and close. If you want to perform the accounting, you can do it, or else directly we can just switch to payment workbench to process the payments. Payments.
Lakshman, I have a question. The debit memo and credit memo both are minus?
Yes, Srini, yes. The same way we have in EBS also, right? So in payables, debit and credit memos, both are negative sign. In receivables, debit memo is positive, credit memo is negative. So in payables, the debit and credit memos both are negative sign. The purpose is to reduce the supplier balances, but scenarios are different where we use. Normally the debit memo is raised by customer, and credit memo will be raised by supplier. Sometimes it can be done by customer also. So what we do is basically the debit memo we use for purchase returns. Okay, the credit memo for any sort of corrections. If you identify something wrong, the invoice amount, you may correct, you may inform to supplier, or else supplier may give some discount. They may intimate us later purchase time. After purchasing, they may offer some discount that they reduce in their books, and that they'll inform to us that we may correct by using the credit memo. Finally, these two are inbuilt negative signs. You cannot create debit or credit memo with a positive amount. But in receivables, we know. So as for standard functionality, they given debit and credit memos, debit memo with a positive, credit memo with a negative, but still you have a flexibility of setting the sign. That flexibility they given in receivables, not in payables. It same.
Thanks.
Even EBS 11i also same. R12 also same. Fusion also, they didn't do any changes in terms of the functionality of these memos, how can be used in our Oracle applications. That remains same.
And
Lakshman,
Yeah, please.
okay, go ahead.
in R12 we have another type called mixed also, right? So do you
Mixed
have
we don't have here.
yeah.
So we don't have. Mixed will allow positive and negative, right? So reality, we don't see that invoice usage much in the business, right? Fine. To handle specific category of the transaction, they may use it to uniquely identify those transactions. That purpose, they may use it. So otherwise, there is no great usage of mixed invoice. That could be the reason they removed in this vision. Done.
So while creating debit memo, credit memo, if you use matched invoice, does it automatically goes and updates the matched amount in PO?
Yes, matched amount in PO not. What it will do is in the background, it will trigger the process of fetching the information from the this is matched with which document. It identifies that it is a matched, and it will try to get that information. Even if you are selecting matched, the invoice is created by matching, right?
Yeah.
So within the
Yeah.
invoice, lines are from the matched record only. So as a new task, it is not going to do anything, but just for system understanding, that option they given. Okay, you created invoice by
Yeah.
the PO. When you are creating invoice by matching with the PO, the lines will be created based on that PO information, right? So already that is done. Those lines you are going to use for correction here within the payables. Anyway, that won't get tie back to payables. Sorry, purchasing.
Yeah,
It
this
won't tie back.
$3,000 you reduced is not available for second time matching or creating second invoice.
Sorry.
The 3,000 you reduced by creating debit memo and credit
Yeah,
memo
we
is
reduced.
not available. Is not available for creating another second invoice. Or I mean, again, second invoice by matching to the 3,000. The unmatched amount.
Really, I didn't get it. Matching to
Yeah.
another invoice matching. What is that? See,
Sorry. The
simple.
original
We
invoice
have
is.
invoice with the 10,000. We reduce to 3,000. This is the case we have. Now, what is your question?
So really, the matched amount is still 10,000, right?
Please. See, don't count here matched amount. There is no matched amount here.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I got it. I thought, does it not create some confusion? I mean, when you do reporting something like that, the paid amount is 8,000, is 7,000, but already the matched amount is exhausted. You don't have invoices.
See, no, here why you are considering matched amount? Where is the matched amount?
No, it is not here. I don't know. There is no issue at all creating the payments. But what I mean to say is that 3,000 should be available for creating another invoice when you take matched amount.
So like purchase return system create the debit memo.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When system create the debit memo automatically, what is the trigger point?
No, I'm not clear. I mean,
Okay.
I may not be knowing that,
Yeah, that
that part.
functionality we have. So you might be
Okay.
clicking on that. Say you create invoice through matching. When you talk about matching, that is a point we have to understand. You created an invoice through matching. After creating that, so you received say 10 quantity, unit price is 1,000, total invoice amount is 10,000. You are going to return 3 quantity back to the supplier. In that case, the moment you perform the purchase return, system automatically trigger and it will create the debit memo in payables against that invoice by reducing the 3,000. That's how it works.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
If you want to do it through manually, yes, whatever you are just trying to find out, the connectivity, what you are talking about, yes, that will miss. But reality, what we'll do, we'll go with that approach if there is a purchase returns. Other than purchase returns, if any other reason you want to reduce, only the option is credit memo to reduce. So that record update and all you can see in the payables only. This updates cannot be tied back to the source application, inventory or purchasing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how it works. Yeah, same. That functionality remains same. Like when you do the purchase return, system will create the debit memo automatically in the payables. We don't need to create through manual process. If you select that point as so, pay and receipt. Pay and receipt is different. RTS, return to vendor, return to supplier. Fine. Any questions here, please?
So, some stupid question. The original invoice, 10,000 invoice, does it has to be validated for creating debit memos and credit memo?
Oh, you know this application, right? I got it out. I'm
Yeah.
sorry to ask you this.
It
No,
has to be validated. Right?
no. Yeah. Do you think invoice we can perform some action on invoice without validation? No. So validation is a very basic action which you have to perform on that invoice to play with that invoice with any action. Should be validated.
Mm.
I'm
Okay.
guessing you don't have some knowledge on these tables. I'm not sure. You have to say that.
Okay.
Fine.
Lakshman,
Yeah.
Lakshman. Yeah, I have a question. Like for RTS, we have some setups for supply and supply side, and after that, once we return the goods in purchasing system, and when we raise the standard invoice, system automatically generate the debit memo.
Correct.
But in the manual, yeah, but in the manual scenario, once we are raising the standard invoice and after matching with the PO, and we find that two stocks has been destroyed, and we are rating,
See, yes.
creating the.
No. One point, when you do something through manual process, there is a chance where it can create the record which mismatch with the reality. The possibility is there. That is the reason normally we go with that automation of triggering the debit memo creation based on the action which you do as a purchase returns. So supplier site level, you enable that checkbox. The moment you do it, it will be done. Otherwise, say there you just created some purchase returns, there you didn't enable create a debit memo based on return to vendor activity, purchase returns. So it won't create any debit memo. Later you can create manual debit memo in the payables. So you say you return the two quantity, you may create here a debit memo with more than that or less than that. No control on that. That is the reason normally we use automation.
Okay, so we can't track that in purchasing, right?
How you can track?
If we
Because
are,
see, it's a simple point. You are not establishing that flow from PO to, or say, inventory. When you say receipt, it's a inventory. But of course, you can do from purchasing, from inventory to this payables. If you go with that RTS, RTV or RTS, return to vendor, or call it as return to supplier, then that tracking can be possible against what that debit memo is created. Otherwise, it's all about directly manually you are creating. System talks about this debit memo is created against which invoice. That's all. Not with a reference
and
of
same.
which receipt and all, purchase return and all.
Okay, and the same for invoice tolerance, if we be given in quantity, and then quantity is exceeding with
These all
the.
remain same as EBS.
Okay.
Okay,
Fine.
these and all, there is no difference. Only the point you could see in the matching time. In case of EBS, what we do, header level we select match action, right? Match we select as invoice. In the bottom level, they given the tab called as correction tab. Then it will display the invoice. We'll select amount, and that's how we'll do this. But here, what we are doing, there is no header level option called as invoice selection to correct debit or credit memo. Directly we are selecting matched invoice or unmatched. Immediately, directly we are able to do it. That's how just the framework they changed, but the functionality remains same.
Yeah, that is fine. Yeah, that we are talking about the correction part. Like for correction, we are raising credit memo or for
Then
purchase returns. Yes.
what is your question?
Now my question is that we have certain controls. Like if my order,
Those all
if
remain
I
same.
receive
Yeah, that's what I am saying. Those all that how that system behaves and how the controls uh, will come into the picture in terms of quantity or price tolerances which you set for invoice, all remain same.
okay.
Okay, all remain same. Done. So now we'll go and make the payment. When you're making the payment, since we are doing through manual process, we should include the debit and credit memo. Otherwise, system will allow us to make the payment to the supplier 10,000. In case of payment process request, we know system will pick those debit and credit memo automatically by following the criteria which we set in the PPR. Right now we'll just go on to process through manually. Say create payment. So here select our supplier. Select our bank account. Select payment process profile. Select document. Now we can select invoices, for which invoices you want to process the payment. So apart from this information, see you could see here a few other tabs also. Okay, where you can specify the relevant information based on the process. Okay, we'll just come across when you're working on bills payables and other concepts at that time. We'll see that which are required. Fine. So now go to invoice selection. Only 3 invoices are available. Select one by one. Select first one, then just select first one, hold shift and select last one. All will get selected. That's how you can select multiple invoices. Say apply. Say okay. Now the amount which you are going to pay is 7,000 only. If you forget to select these 2 invoices, system won't stop you from processing 10,000 payment to the supplier. So say save. In case of PPR, it won't happen. It will pick the debit and credit memos also along with the invoice. So we paid 7,000 after reducing 3,000 from debit and credit memo. Done. So if you want to perform the accounting for all these unaccounted invoice and payments, so here you can just do from here from payments, or else go to invoice workbench and go to task list. Scroll a little down, and here you could see task called as create accounting. Same as EBS, you can just submit the create accounting. Subledger application name is payables. Select our ledger, because with the ledger only the BUs are associated, right? So cloud INCUS ledger, because system taken cloud INCUS, the reason just I loaded this information setup data through spreadsheet, rapid implementation spreadsheet. So this is how it's created. I didn't change the name later. So done. Just accounting mode, final, process all events, transfer to general ledger. Yes, general ledger, yes. So all the same parameters we can accept. Default, say submit. Now it will create accounting and it will transfer to GL and it will post in the GL for all the unaccounted invoice and the payments. Say cancel, and you can go and monitor this job from scheduled process. I think that we tagged as a favorites. We'll go and check it. No, I think in the other previous instance we did it. We'll go to ESS job page to monitor the create accounting job. It's running. You may tag it as a favorite, so next time onwards direct navigation we can take from here. So add to favorites. So monitor process, okay, or else you can name it as ESS job page, enterprise scheduler service job page. So it's running. Create accounting process is completed. Now it is just doing the post subledger journal entries process. The next step is it will import that journals information from SLA to GL. After that again it has to post in the GL. It's imported and it is post in the journals in GL. So this we know very well. If you want to run one by one invoice and payment create accounting, you can do it, or else for bulk volume of invoice and payments at a time you can submit this create accounting. So done. So that's all about debit memo and credit memos creation against the invoices. Okay. And
Lakshman, I've got a question.
yep.
So in this scenario, you've actually created the invoice and you've not paid. So, and then you applied your debit and credit memos. What happens in the scenario where the invoice has been fully paid and then you're applying a credit or debit memo onto it?
You cannot.
Is it going to generate an automatic?
No, you cannot do that. You just already paid. There's no, we don't find any meaning correcting that amount for paid invoice. You don't do that.
Okay, let's assume that for whatever business reason, I realized that what was supplied to me or I was overcharged. What do I do?
Oh, in that case, we have a different options. If you come across, okay, just you can go and say void the payment. It went wrong and all. You can void. When you are voiding the payment, you have option to select whether you want to cancel the invoice also to create another invoice, or you want to open that invoice. So this is how just based on the from payment side, because already payment is done. If you want to reverse it, you have to come back to this invoice from payment. That is how you have to handle the scenario. Directly you cannot perform action of invoice. So first action is invoice, then second action is payment. Now if you want to work on the first action, that is nothing but invoice, you start from the payment, start reversing the activity from payment to invoice. And depending on the scenario, within the available functionality you can manage, or else we'll go with some workaround at least. That's how it works. Fine. Done. So we have seen how to create the payment also, right? So from the payment workbench, now we'll work on payment process profile. Okay. So this functionality also, if you compare with EBS R12 PPR, that remain as is. To test this functionality, what we'll do is we don't have any unpaid invoices, almost all we paid. So we'll go and create 2-3 invoices and we'll submit the PPR. Let system pick those invoices for payment, and we'll go through the criteria and we'll discuss few points. And the process remains same as EBS as it is. And if you want to create the template to set the default criteria, you can define, otherwise without template you can do it. But now we will just create few invoices so that system can pick those invoices. Before that we'll create the template and we'll run the process, and we'll just automatically will pick those invoices. It will select, it will build, it will format, and it will confirm the PPR payment process requests, where you can see those invoices turned into payment records. We'll go through that process. So to test this functionality, we'll go and create 2 or 3 invoices, because we don't have unpaid invoices for picking. Fine. Let's go and create, say, 3 invoices. We'll go and create 3 invoices. So go to invoice workbench. Say create invoice. Sorry. Cloud INC supplier 1. Sorry. And invoice number 1. Invoice amount is $5,000. So 5,000. Just validate it. And create one more invoice. And supplier is Cloud INC, same supplier. It's invoice 2. So this you may just enter $10,000. Place cursor, the field will open. You can enter the line amount. So we are entering only one line instead of entering multiple lines. Since it's just for testing, that would be enough. And validate this invoice and say save and create next. Okay, we'll create one more invoice. So it's showing the 10,000, the same amount with the same date, the same currency for the same supplier. There's an invoice which is already created with the cloud too. Yes, we know that. Say continue. Okay, and validate it. Say save and create next. We'll create one more. 3 would be enough. Even 2 also enough to test it. But let's go with the 3. So cloud invoice, cloud INC. Yeah, please. Any question? Say $15,000. I noticed that somebody unmuted, so I was asking. Fine. So validate this invoice. So now we have 3 unpaid invoices. 3 unpaid invoices. So you may perform the accounting or you can do it later. Done. So save and close. Now you can go to payments. Directly you can go and submit the PPR payment process request by specifying the criteria. Okay, selection criteria. Or else you can create payment template where you can set up default parameters. So whenever you select the parameter template, the parameters will get defaulted so that user no need to select the same criteria all the time or very frequently, right? So we are under we selected payments. We are in the payment work area. Go to task list. So if you don't see the full task name, what you could do is the workaround is you can just minimize this. Okay, just zoom out, then it will display the full task name. So here we have a template, manage payment process request template. Still you can zoom out. Okay, just to see the name. So manage payment process request templates. So first we'll create the template. Okay, so or else first we'll go to submit payment process request. We'll just see that page and we'll come back and we'll see this. Any question? I could see somebody unmuted. Click on submit payment process request. So this is selection criteria and what based system has to pick the invoices automatically without selecting by user. So maybe based on the pay through date, pay from date, or priority or date base and selection. So early payment invoices, zero include zero payments, payment invoices, and currency, pay group, business group, legal entity, sources, and supplier type payment. All these are the criteria, and we can set some default payment processing options as a payment process request, disbursement bank account, and all. Payment disbursement bank account, payment document, payment process profile, and rest of controls also you can set whether you want to review the payments, whether payment record has to be created immediately, how it has required, like you can see review installments, etc. If you want to see accordingly, you can set all these criteria. Okay, so you can set these and simply you can submit, then based on that system will pick it. Before that we'll give the name and we'll set all these. Otherwise, to default these details, or if you have some fixed criteria based on the different scenarios, the criteria you can set up by using the template. The template you can select here. From the template is all will be filled automatically. Okay, first we'll go and create the template and we'll just come back to this submitting the payment process request. Yes, we want to continue, we want to cancel this. So we'll go and create the payment process request. no difference you see if you compare with EBS R12. If you compare with EBS 11A, there is a difference, right, between EBS 11 and R12 itself. 11A we have a payment batch. R12 the same they introduced as a payment manager where you can submit the PPR. Okay, if you are aware of those differences, the same difference is applicable here between 11A and with this Fusion, or else what you could see in EBS 12, the same we have in Fusion also. Now we'll go and create the template. The third task talks about template definition, manage payment process request template. So we'll go and create the template. Here you could see some arrow mark. Click on that. It gives you the option to create. Click on add. Means create. Say cloud inc template. So based on the criteria, you can create a number of templates, right? So you can set the criteria, what base system has to pick the invoices. So you can set specifications. And
Lakshman, what is this create payment process request template for?
so this is just to set the default information. So when you submit, normally we have to provide the parameters, criteria, right? Conditions. When you submit the, you aware of this PPR and EBS, right? Just for my understanding, I'm asking so that we can.
Yeah.
There also we have payment process request template, because instead of selecting the parameters, I mean the criteria and processing options every time you submit, okay, similar criteria, one time you can define the template at the time of payment process request. If you select the template, within the template whatever we are going to specify, those would get defaulted. Okay,
It's just like autofill setting.
Yes. Okay, we are just setting, we are predefining the criteria and these options. So the same criteria and processing options, if you want to use for any payment process request, the relevant template you can select, so the work would be reduced for the user. Say you have a say for example, your requirement is processing the payments for specific pay group. Okay, for pay group, your requirement is you want to process the payments only for the pay group called as foreign suppliers. In that case, you can create this request template and you can select that specific pay group name. So domestic, say you want to process the payments only for domestic suppliers. If you are selecting here, before that we have to assign this pay group to the relevant suppliers, right? And only check payments. This is what you want to do. And only specific BU, okay, or you can give other specification how you require. This you can save it when you have a requirement of processing only domestic suppliers and only check payment. This payment process request template you can select in the PPR request. So these automatically what we selected here, it will default. User no need to select.
Okay.
Yeah, just setting defaults and taking those into process before we submit the request, so that you can specify. If you want to set criteria, you can set it, or else at least set processing options. Let's go with the open criteria. Of course, we don't have so invoices, many invoices, just the invoice all falls under same supplier, same payment method, everything is same. So if you think you want to set selection criteria, you can set it, or else specify processing options. Even specifying processing options also not mandatory. If you don't specify, in the process of making the payment, it will ask you to provide. That's it. So here you can select by using which payment, bank account you want to process the payment. Cloud INC corporate account, which document, Cloud INC.
Lakshman,
Yeah, please.
There are few options which is not available in hardware, like review installments or in the selection criteria. I'm asking, is it there are few features which is available in Fusion in PPR
What are
template
those?
and which is not like review installments and in selection criteria source. I think
Yeah,
so.
selection
Not sure.
criteria source, yes, those yes you can find as a new, yes, correct. The we don't find in the EBS case. EBS case, the source selection is not required. We could see only the four criterias, primary criterias: pay group, currency, business unit, legal entities. Source selection is different because the source they given, you may get the this invoices from the different sources. In case of
So
EBS,
like
source selection is not applicable. It will pick any invoice, but here the filtration they given, if they have invoices from the different sources which are flowing into payables.
I can restrict this PPR for I expense invoice
Yes,
payment and all.
yeah, now that option is available here. Yep, that's true. Yes, this we don't have in EBS. Here they just introduced. The same way, just few other options also you can come across when you're working on this. Fine, this is how you can give the specifications. Say we want to review the proposed payments and let system create payment file immediately based on this action. This is how just what, however, what are the defaults, the processing options we require. Sorry. What are the criteria based system has to pick the invoices, all you can specify. That's how you can create your payment process request template. This you can select at the time of PPR submission, payment process request submission. So as per our requirement, we can create the template. So at the time of PPR, you can select it so that the system will default. Otherwise, manual, you can specify whatever you want to do it. Let's go and submit PPR, payment process request. The first one, submit payment process request.
And here one more doubt,
Please.
Lakshman. Here I see there are two management processes when you click that. Manage process requests. When you click the task list.
Yeah, tell me like.
Here
Manage,
I see that
manage means finding. Manage means finding.
I know there are two links there. I don't know why.
So let me just minimize this so that you can see that full name.
I think that is one is template, another one is creating the process.
I think I just let me zoom in. So manage
yeah.
payment
Now
process request. When
yeah.
you submit, you can go to this task and you can find it. So manage
Okay.
payment process request template. This is to create as well as to find the same.
Oh, okay. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, I couldn't see the template part, so
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. See, this task basically when you say manage, most of the cases to find out, right? So here the task they given to create the template and to find and to edit the same one task only they give. Okay, fine. Oh, just zoom in. So this size, how much it has to be displayed, those you can set up. That option we have. When we just talk about the infolets and all, I'll show you this display width, how much it should be. That also you can set up. It's a simple task. We'll do that. Fine. Now just go to submit payment process request. You can provide the name, Cloud INC, the payment process request. It is 7th June 2018. So if you want to set all these selection criteria and processing options, yes, you can set however you require. Otherwise, if you think with a relevant criteria already you have a template, select template so that system will default from the template. What are the criteria and the processing options already you specified in the template. Cloud INC template. If you want to override, you can override it. If you go to payment processing options, any question? I can hear some noise. Fine. So within this template, these are the details we given. The system is defaulting here. So if you want to override, you can override. If you want to set your specific criteria in this, you can set it up. So as per our requirement, we can give all the specifications, then say submit. Now open criteria. Here we are not filtering the invoice selection. So all eligible invoices which are validated and which invoice holds are not placed, all will be picked. Now we submit it. Now go to manage payment process request. So what name we given? Cloud INC. Today's date, right? What is the request name? Find the request. So pending installment selection. Just hit on this refresh icon. It will show the latest update of the status. You could see 3 invoices are selected. Yes, 3 only we have which are unpaid. So pending proposed payments review. This checkbox we enabled in the template that is defaulted to request. So that is the reason system is stopping. Instead of taking to the next step, it is stopping for review purpose. So you can click on the action. Okay. So here you could see that who is the payee. Payee is Cloud INC supplier 1, and total we are going to pay 30,000. For which invoices? Here you can see those invoices. 1, 2, 3 invoices. Okay, if you don't want to pay some invoice and all, you can remove that invoice. Okay, same as EBS, you can do all this. Okay, if you are just okay with this information and all, you can just click on resume payment process profile. Just proceed. Submitted. It will go to the next step. So you can keep hitting on this refresh to see the latest update against this payment process request, or you may treat as payment batch. But in 11i we use that term, but here it's all about request, which creates the batch payments. Just keep hitting on this. The stage is payment file process created and ready for printing. That's yes, done. Okay, now click on action. We have to record the print status here. So already discussed, no printer is available in this environment because the printer setup should be done by, the installation should be done by Oracle Cloud team only. Like as EBS, we cannot do it since this is a cloud environment. If printer is available, the names you can find, select here from which printer the printing should happen. Now no printer, but at least, so normally in EBS in the any environment you could see one value as a no printer sort of value, but here nothing is available, so no issue, still you can proceed. Okay, so no printer, no issue.
What about the build status? We don't see that.
Lakshman,
We don't see the build status.
So it will process. See here, you can go to the I'll just let me open other window. So whenever you review the proposed payments, whenever you say that resume print status, resume, it will go to the build phase only.
Oh yeah, okay. So
You can go to this schedule process, monitor process. Click on refresh. See build payments. It's submitted, right?
Yeah. Okay.
First one is selection. Yes, as you mentioned, it is not displaying in the view. It won't display, but one system select the next step. If you say okay, that is nothing but building the payments. If you do some modification, again you have to submit. It will rebuild also, right? Same applicable. Same. Okay, you can click on print. Yeah, I think some question is there. Any question? Somebody was asking.
Yeah, yeah, Lakshman.
Yeah, please.
Regarding even if it is Fusion premises on premises implementation, the what kind of printer setups need to be done? Is it driven by functional guy or any other guys need to be done?
See, we know in EBS the printer installation, the configuration generally done by DBA. DBA do it. Okay. The same it's on-premise means normally on-premise will have a DBA. Generally, that is the responsibility of DBA. They'll do it. Okay, the detailed documents also available on that how to do it. Or else, if somebody is expertise, they know very well how to do it. That how that can be done. Someone can take that responsibility. Okay. Normally, DBA do it in the projects. So here we submitted for printing, done. You can click on the action. You can just go and confirm this, the payment process request or this batch to turn these invoices into payment records. Just click on action. 1 second, it is taking time. Yeah. So now you can say record print status. It will ask us to confirm. Just say submit. So confirmation, yes. So do not confirm if you are not finalized. That's a message. It is saying that once you confirm records, payment records will be created. Do you want to continue or not? That message is showing yes. Record the print status. Now the payments, all in invoices which are in this batch will be confirmed as a payments. Done. Now you can go and find these payments from payment workbench also. It's a printed, that is the status. Okay, basically the status will come as a confirmed once it's updated the process. The payment file confirmation. So here now you can go to payment workbench. You can go to manage payments. You can search and find those 3 invoices are turned into payments. You can search with the payment process request also. Payment process request is Cloud IMC 7th June 2018. Yep. Search. With this request, any payments are processed, you can find it. Yes, 30,000 processed by using the document number 4. Click on the document. This document check we use to process how many invoice payments that you could see. How many invoices? 3 invoices. 1, 2, 3 invoices. Total 5, 15, 10, 30,000. So this is how we can do it. When you look at this process, you don't see the difference when you compare with the EBS release 12, not 11i. So done. So any questions we'll discuss, but we done for the today. Okay, we're done with the today's session. If you have any questions, you can stay back, or else you may just quit from the meeting. That's all for today. Thank you all. Have a good day and good night. Any questions now, please?
Yeah, Lakshman, Tej.
Yeah.
Regarding for open invoices, we use the FD template. Fine. And regarding the setups, we used other day. We have inbuilt
FD
setups. Rapid implementation. No, rapid implementation.
Yes.
Regarding setup, are you able to hear? Are you able to hear my voice?
Yeah. No. Yeah. I'm just asking for the confirmation. So yes, rapid implementation uses a spreadsheet. To load the open invoices, we use FBDI templates, file-based data import. Yes.
Correct. So coming to the point, like, in case of migration, uh, regarding this open suppliers and customers, do we have any, how we are going to process in Fusion?
By using the same FBDI templates.
FBA template.
Yes.
Okay. For customers and suppliers.
Yes. Conversions. What
Yeah.
data we do. I mean, what data we bring into that EBS application through conversion activity in case of EBS implementations. The same data you can just get into these Fusion applications by using FBDI templates, file-based data import. So just I think maybe after 3-4 sessions we'll be working on the same. Here I mentioned the course curriculum.
Excellent. And okay, that will be great. That will be great. And I have one more quick question.
Please.
Regarding the check setups, of course, we are doing the payment process file and everything. You said the printer part will be taken care by, if it is on premises, the DBA part will take care. But how do you, where we are relating setups, like, a check format will be different, width will be different, how, where there is nothing to do in the application?
Here.
As a functional consultant.
I just mentioned it. Being a functional consultant, we don't create any formats. We know that. If you are working on EBS project, what we'll do is the DB technical person can go and find the predefined formats or seeded formats which are given by Oracle in the payment administrator, right? The payables payment administrator, the guy can find, he can download that XML format, and as per the check format layout, the size, width, and other alignments can be done by the technical guy. So what we have to do is, against that we create the format. That format we will attach in the bank account and do PPR, payment process request. In our classes, we use the standard one, what Oracle provides, standard check format. But if you want to, in every project there has to be created how many banks checks they have, according to those many we have to create, we have to associate with the specific bank accounts as well as PPR, payment process, PPP, payment process profiles. So that we use in our setup part, which Oracle given. So I just mentioned here how to create it. I mean, once from where you can find. In case of EBS, you can find in the payment administrator. In Fusion, you don't have that a payment administrator. We have a separate BI catalogs. How to go there, how to find it, how to download, how to help the technical people to find this file. Once they do the modifications, how to upload, how to create the format, how to select into bank accounts and payment process profile, that we know, but anyway we'll do it. I just mentioned here. We'll be covering that.
So it means what the technical consultant role will be here still in Fusion in the case.
Yeah, it's not a big role and all. It's just simple task. Simple task. The person may not be in the project, may ask them to do it for 1 day or 2 days task. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a technical task, but it's we don't need to take technical person to do this big task. Right? It's a pretty simple.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Take care.
Yeah. Thank you. You too. Fine. Any other questions on today's session or previous classes, please?
Hi, Laxman. This is Roy.
Yeah, right.
Can you send me the ask your team to send me the Google Drive instructions and also the instance for the Cloud Inc. and the password for that one?
Right. You didn't get instance so far?
I got one earlier with the fast10.student login.
Right. Can you be a bit louder? Just your voice is a little low.
I got a fast10.student1 instance. It's our password's R13 instance. Is that the same one? It looks like you've got maybe a different instance.
No. Same. It's the same, like the recently just I shared. I think it happened on Friday, I guess.
Okay. Well, I didn't maybe get that. Was there another one? Did you email that out?
Yeah, I'll be sharing once again.
Can you email that to me? I sent my Gmail, roynabel@gmail.com. If you can send that.
No.
And,
Yeah. Better just you can. My request is, you can send. I think you given your company mail ID, I guess. So better you can just share your Gmail ID. You can write an email on this, please. Please share your Gmail ID on this ID, so that I'll just share that instance credential.
the instance in the cloud and the Google Drive. Yeah, I sent you an email today.
Oh, okay. Then I'll just share on the Gmail ID. Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Fine. Thank you.
Lakshman.
Bye.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Lakshman.
Yeah, please.
How do I missed the first part of the session? I think about 10 or 20 minutes. Will I get a copy of this or?
Yeah, you'll get this session video recording.
Okay. Okay.
Sharing. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, Lakshman, thanks. Have a good day.
Yeah, thank you, Srini. You too. Thank you. Fine. Any questions from anyone, please?
Thank you.
Thanks, Saran.
Lakshman, Monday is 6 o'clock or?
Yeah, fixed.
8 o'clock.
Fixed. I circulated mail, right? The same. 6 o'clock.
Okay, sure. Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for your support also, for just allowing me to take few more time to just click on that class timings. Thanks for that. Fine. Any other questions from anyone, please? Any questions, please? So I'll be available for 10 more minutes in the meeting. If you have any questions within the
Lakshmi, I did not receive email on the. I think did you circulate any mail from Monday? Is it 6 o'clock?
Yes, I circulated. I just sent the mail along with the meeting link itself.
Oh, okay. I didn't see. Okay.
I sent separate mail along with the meeting link. I just shared. I just included that information. The same I mentioned the subject also.
Okay. Yep.
Fine. Anyway, once again, I'll be just sending maybe tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow, once again, we'll just inform to all the participants. We'll do that, but that is confirmed. From Monday onwards, we'll be preponing to 6 as we planned and discussed. We'll do that. Fine. Any other questions from anyone, please?
Lakshman, 5 days back, which is on June 1st, I received a link for the 5421. Is the same one we are talking about to use the instance?
Yeah, correct. Same, Murali.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. Which is the same instance that we got in the beginning, or something different?
That's different.
Okay, because that number is matching somewhere. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, somewhere, but not exactly. Maybe some similarity. 15. The series may be same, but actual number is unique. Yeah. Fine. Thank you.
Another question. Yeah. Sorry to ask you. Maybe it is a very basic question. I am not sure.
Discuss now. See, only one thing. Like now we are not in the actual session. You can ask any question. We can discuss on that.
In EBS 12, like when you have invoice with debit memo, credit memo in payables. So without going through the payment batch, identify that yes, this is a supplier. It has invoice. It has a credit memo. It has debit memo. Then it will be adjusted it, and it will send a payment for 7,000. Is there anything that can be done without doing a payment process in AP invoices that has debit memo, credit memo, how we have in
without payment process request in EBS R12, do you have any option where system can pick or it can prompt some note? Do you have something?
I don't remember anything like that.
We don't have. Same applicable here.
Okay, that's what I just am trying to understand.
User has to remember, which is a very big task. It's
because
not possible.
When it is in for same supplier,
yeah.
So the batch will pick it up and try to adjust those balances, right?
Yeah, that's the reason normally for any sort of payments, the business use PPR.
Okay. Another doubt is this FBDI. where we are uploading the FBDI.
Web ADI. Okay. FBDI.
No.
ADF.
FBDI. Ah, yes.
Yeah.
File based, ADFdi,
Yeah.
something. So I mean, I understanding that we cannot customize however we want. Right now, the template they have given that has everything is covered. Some situation that they want to have, like, enable DFF segment one, like attribute one, attribute two. So we need to upload those data. Such situation came in. How we can do this in ADFDI?
See, when it depends again which, see, you are installing this ADFdi. ADFdi is applicable for many functions: invoice creation, receipt creation, asset creation, journal creation.
Okay. One file only can support for all these activities.
Yeah, same will support because this is a plugin add-in which is required. This will be supported for all those different format of the sheets, and within those sheets, if Oracle is providing the provision of that additional attributes, then you can add in this actual application definition. The same will the application will get connected to that sheet. If the DFF is available here, the Oracle is giving the provision. You can get that value into the sheet. That's all.
Correct. But what is happening? Like we have to explicitly, even though you configure in the application that we have to go to the template, copy the template, and
That is
add the.
different. That is different. Definitely, you have to do that additional work of mapping because it's not within the environment, right? It's not within the environment directly to fetch because the process, the interface, what they given, that will take the standard.
But that process we have to do
About the
in
custom template, right?
Yeah, we are talking about. Let's say template is there.
If it is standard, you don't need to do it. It's a custom only. You can do it, but here you can do the
Understood.
environment. You can do the custom template.
Correct. But let's say I have a standard template. All I want to add a DFF attribute, so I cannot use that one. I have to copy it and customize it, add whatever I want.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. But in this case, system won't allow to do anything. Oracle has been given all the things. Only we need to do is doing the application configuration so that attributes will be enabled in the template.
If already the template has a inbuilt columns attributes.
If it is there,
then it will sync. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Because these are all questions you asked by someone. That's why.
Happened. Yeah, normally it that should be.
Thank you, sir.
Lakshman.
Yeah, Tej.
Lakshman.
Yep.
The previous batch Fusion classes. Are we sharing the G drive?
Yes, we are placing just 1 second. So we are placing those videos in that. We are in fixed assets in that batch. Okay. So we just completed 2 sessions in the fixed assets. Probably within the week the batch will be completed. So I'm just updating. I'm updating. If you have an issue with that, let me know. Just I'll be sharing the drive access once again.